What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today with an August update of the most powerful legendary characters in the game right now for Marvel Strike Force. More specifically, guys, I am going to be focused on really discussing the update in regards to where the non-legendary horseman characters are at in the game. The ones that you should be focusing on and building. Obviously, the meta is constantly changing, so it's great to always assess, especially for those of you starting out or in the mid-game, pondering which characters to invest in. Well, this is your best bet in terms of ranking how these legendaries fare right now. And first and foremost, guys, I also want to point out that for these legendary characters, we took a look at in terms of their usage in all game modes. We're not just talking about a character that's just good in one mode, for example, like raids or just specifically arena. We're going to be taking a look at all those factors to really essentially establish, the most powerful characters right now still in the game for legendaries, the ones that you should be investing in, at least for the short term. As for the long term, there might be possibilities of an update, but obviously we'll keep you guys up to date. Having said that, let's get right to it. So first and foremost, like my disclaimer noted earlier, Morgan Le Fay, Red Hulk, Archangel, and Rogue, these four being the legendary horsemen, they're just heads and shoulders above all the non-horseman legendaries in the game. For that reason, guys, I would highly recommend, if you have opportunities to build up each and every one of them, please do so, because they are also needed for the Unlock Apocalypse. So it goes without saying, they're just heads and shoulders above all the other legendary characters right now in the game. If there was a ranking, I would say that Morgan Le Fay and Red Hulk specifically are the two most powerful horsemen. And then that's followed by Rogue being number 3. And then lastly, Archangel is still a great character, but he has less usage and overall value just because of him getting a lot of benefits in raids. But I mean, having said that, they're still a really great all-rounder team across game modes. So that, does not diminish their value by any means as a fellow horseman. Now that we got that out of the way with the horseman characters, let's talk about the most powerful legendaries right now that are kind of, in the right trend, as well as what we would classify as pretty safe investments. I mean, it goes without saying, I think with Shuri's rework, there's been a lot of value in what she's brought back to the table. Her Wakandans are extremely powerful in Crucible and War. She's just got a lot of value in the sense that she is very easy to unlock, even from the start of the game to mid-game, as well as end-game. She has Dark Dimension value. And now that she's solidified a role with the Wakandans in War and Crucible, Shuri remains one of the best legendaries in the game. So I would start with her. It's a toss-up between her and honestly Nova. So don't let my power rankings deceive you guys in terms of where these legendaries fall. Nova is definitely becoming one of the best legendaries in the game as well, especially now that we've got the additional information that the Nova team, which is Nova's team, being required for Black Cat's legendary unlock in the next trials. But as well, we know his trials is coming up soon, so we can definitely get some more shot opportunities. I unfortunately just haven't had a chance to build him up, but there's a reason why Nova is one of the best. Besides Shuri's healing and sustain and defense up, Nova is unique in the sense that he brings about this new condition in the environment. It's called Nova Force. Having said that, this Nova Force allows his allies to really thrive, being able to clear negative effects, add deflects, as well as having a handy heal when they drop below that 50% health threshold. He's got a useful stun, and he's just a really strong character overall. So I'm definitely planning on bringing him up. But as well, he has great viability in all game modes, especially the Dark Dimension. There's a lot of usage for him in the earlier nodes if you're able to take advantage. He's one of the few characters that can actually be slotted in the final 2 nodes in place of Archangel. So it just goes to show you how powerful this character is. I love the fact that he's also bio as well, so you can actually take advantage of his gear stats, especially if you're restricted for gear and trying to be smart with management of resources. He's a great slotting character for that reason, and like I said, a plug-and-play character for a multitude of different teams. Following both Shuri and Nova, their sustainability and supportive roles, we're going to be looking at more of the kind of damage dealers and support as well. So I mean, I think it's also going to be another toss up here between a couple of characters actually. Magneto, Nick Fury, and Omega Red. These 3 characters work very differently. They all have different values. Omega Red is a crowd controlling machine. He's also extremely versatile in terms of being able to plug and play. His Weapon X team is still a very powerful war team, and even for Crucible as well. But where he kind of lacks is the fact that he's extremely hard to unlock, as he does actually require Nick Fury as a legendary unlock as well. So and then with Nick Fury, you need actually 5 of the Kree minions to unlock. So Nick Fury's prominence in the legendary ranking has definitely gone up due to the fact that his team is now a meta staple raid team, being in the skills for specifically the invaders team. But his sustainability, the fact that he can bring about minions that actually do make a difference now, has definitely skyrocketed his value. So I love the fact that he used to be one of the worst legendaries, and now you can easily use him as a slotting character, even for Dark Dimension, for raids. All around, his invader team is really good. There's also some Cosmic Crucible changes coming up that in the new season where the invaders are going to get a buff. So for that reason, Nick Fury does get a little bit of benefit there. Lastly here, guys, Magneto. He's an important piece because not only is part of a legendary horseman team, but his value also went up because he's part of multiple teams. He used to be part of Brotherhood, and then since the Death Seed rework in terms of their team coming about, taking over the raid meta for mutant specifically, he's very similar to Nick Fury. There's a slot-in team right now for the incursion raids. His value is not going anywhere anytime soon, and being part of a horseman team needed for Apocalypse is all the more reason why Magneto is a very strong character. He is kind of not really hard to unlock as well because he does need mutants, but a mix of Brotherhood. But I mean, overall, he's a legendary character that's has a lot of value. Outside of raids, though, is where he kind of does diminish. I mean, he's not as versatile as Nick Fury and Omega Red in terms of Dark Dimension viability, but their Death Seed team is all around a very strong team. Where he does lose a little bit of credit is the fact that his energy, his abilities does cost a lot for most of the energy usage here. Even his ultimate costing 6 right there. His special got the rework, which is nice and short, but again, he gets value from being in raids usage, and that's where he kind of diminishes some of the important plug-and-play aspect. For that reason, I think Magneto would be below Nick Fury and Omega Red in terms of value, just because he's less viable outside of raids, but still completes the Death Seed team, making them a very powerful legendary team to be, obviously facing up against. And then, guys, we just have a really big cluster of characters that I'm not sure, they're at a point in the game where I'm not sure how to proceed with, right? So I'll give you an example of some of the ones that do have more mindful value. I mean, Iron Man, his rework, the Bionic Avengers, actually did add value. So thankfully, I didn't raise him up, but I mean, I was planning to, and then we realized really shortly here that in the incursion raids, Bionic Avengers was supposed to be the answer for the tech raids section, right? And now with the incursion raids, they showed us that the Bionic Avengers may not be actually the go-to team. There might be something in the future, but not anytime soon. So that's why I've kind of just stunned his growth right now in terms of bringing him up further. He costs a lot of gear as well, so I'm not really sure where Iron Man's place is now right now in the game. Although he synergizes extremely well, Bionic Avengers, Viv Vision, Hulkbuster are the two more important pieces of his team, and to be quite honest, you don't really miss Iron Man. He's really good in the Doom raids for sure with Bionic, but I mean, after that with incursions, there's going to be some endgame loss there in terms of the value of the Bionic. Adam Warlock is another powerful character that I really loved back in the day in terms of the Infinity Watch. Actually, surprisingly, the Infinity Watch team are still, I would say, in my opinion, a top 10 well-rounded, like they can get a lot of success rates across all game modes. And the fact that Adam Warlock does have a really strong kit in terms of support, having stuns, ability blocks, bleed, I mean, he's just very versatile. But unfortunately, he's working against all the other Cosmic Mystic characters that have that same gear usage. And as well, just him being part of the miasma requirement too. I mean, you're going up against characters like Doctor Doom, Deathpool, Cloak, Dormammu. They're all relevant, powerful characters in the game, right? So this is something to be mindful of. That's part of the reason why I haven't brought him up. The other caveat is the fact that he also requires a legendary to unlock him as well. So I mean, the route to getting Adam Warlock and then just seeing that value diminish as well is not great. And that, guys, essentially is pretty much all the notable ones I would recommend in terms of even just considering the build. After that, there's a big fall off here, right? We got Jubilee, and like I said, don't let the power rankings deceive you. We got Jubilee here with her astonishing X-Men team that used to be the staple raid team until obviously Destiny came about and they completely just blow them out of the water. We got Ebony Maw, who requires another legendary and Black Bolt unlock. Phoenix is a cheap legendary unlock, but again, you still need the actual restrictions and requirements to unlock her. But even then, her stats are just so power crept that, she can easily get one shot or two shotted in battle. We got Dr. Octopus, Black Bolt, Star-Lord, Invisible Woman that just don't really have a place in the game right now. I mean, if you guys have previously built up Dr. Octopus before because there was a lack of options in the city nodes for Dark Dimension, he probably may be built up so that you can utilize him as well as part of the unlock for Black Cat coming in the short term here with the unlock with Nowhere being required as well as Sinister 6. But other than that, I don't know if there's going to be some potential reworks that may actually add value for Dr. Octopus. That's something to be mindful of, right? But for that reason, he's in a strange place in the game as well. I wouldn't recommend Ebony Maw. I wouldn't recommend Black Bolt. I wouldn't recommend Star-Lord. You know, Invisible Woman's interesting because I know typically with all the movies and the reworks in the MCU, we may potentially see something coming in Invisible Woman's way in the future, especially without the reboot of the Fantastic Four. But for right now, I wouldn't invest in her, guys. She's quite easy to unlock early in the game, which can provide dividends earlier on when you're a new player and beginner. But, I mean, not someone that you would want to bring up using a lot of gear investment for the end game, especially when she's a bio character as well, and she does actually need these unstable claws, which go against some of the meta characters that we have right now, especially in Masters of Evil. So, I mean, just food for thought, right? Other than the ones I mentioned, guys, it's kind of where we're sitting at right now. Again, prioritize building the 4 Legendary Horsemen, but the strong notable mentions would be Shuri, Nova, who are definite locks in Dark Dimension. And then we got Nick Fury, Omega Red, Magneto, part of the meta. But again, we'll have to do a wait and see approach before we see kind of where their updates are in the future. But that's pretty much it, guys. Those are the most powerful legendary characters right now in the game that you should be considering, especially with their unlocks. A lot of them being feasible, which is great to see, but as well having endgame value in the sense that when you build them up, you're still going to be utilizing them later on in other game modes. Let me know what you guys think below in the comments, guys, if you agree or disagree, anybody that I missed. But thank you as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.